Howdy,
Talking about Shaft.
motherfucker.
Timing is everything.
You just Justined me, you prick. Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 455 of the Dave Robot Society. Paul E. Cooley here, joining me today, Mr. Terry Mixon, also known as Thing One.
Howdy ho, neighbors. Did I not change it? Does it still say Thing One?
No, you changed it. I'm just giving you shit.
I can't read it upside down and small, so it could say
not upside down. It's right, left to right instead of right to left, or reverse that.
Whatever. It's hard to read on my little screen.
Well, you know, Terry, what they say about men with small screens.
They have big keyboards.
I have thick glasses. Anyway, how the hell are you, man?
Doing good. Making lots of progress on writing on the secret project. I'm sitting at just over 40,000 words in it, and I'm targeting another 40,000 words by the end of the month. And I'm all into virgin territory on the story. So it's all new material from here on. And I'm looking forward to just running and seeing where this damn story takes me.
Okay, are you going to be running with scissors or?
Yes, I absolutely will be.
You know, as far as I'm concerned, if you don't have a character running with scissors, you're doing it wrong. Characters are supposed to do some really stupid stuff. That's why they're characters. So that's just me, my opinion anyway. So you're almost got the secret project put to bed, and now you've got other things, basically, is what's going on.
I've got the rest of the month is going to be spent writing on the secret project. I've got a hard deadline of the 5th of next month to have that sucker done and off to the co-author, which you folks will find out about this project in more detail once the co-author gets the work and it gets out the door from him. That's right. I admit it. It's a him to the editor. Once it's off to the editor, then we're going to be being a little bit more forthcoming about exactly what the project is.
So when you say finished, your version is going to go to him and he's going to change whatever he wants to change or add whatever he wants to add or whatever. I
don't think so. He's giving me feedback as I'm going along. So okay. I'm getting my course corrections as I'm going. We actually did an outline based on what we were going to do, because I'll pull back the curtain just a little bit here. This work is taking a previously existing work and expanding it. Basically, a 90 some odd thousand word novel that was written some time ago is becoming 2 novels. And so there has to be expansion. I have to bring parts of it into being my voice. Well, basically everything that's been previously written is being brought into my voice. And we plotted out where we thought the story was going to have to go. And since it's a 2-book thing, I've got a target of where it has to end this first book. I know what I have to be writing towards. And I've still got things that I can stick in and totally change this around in the next 40,000 words and still end up where I want to be. And it'll be interesting to see the co-author's reaction.
So are you basically preparing yourself for the fact that you may have to make some changes then?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
I may decide to do something that the co-author doesn't think should be there. If so, I'll rewrite it. That's fine.
You'll rewrite it? I don't believe it. I don't believe for an instant.
You only rewrite to specification. I was contracted to expand this. I can do that. But I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of that. I think that the co-author and I are pretty much on the same page of style of writing wise. He may tweak what I'm doing, but I don't think he's going to say, no, don't do that.
Okay. We've had several questions on the Facebook group and emails regarding writing collaboratively and working with a partner and things like that. So it's kind of interesting when you're done with this process. It'll be fun to see what kind of war stories you can tell.
This has been a very copacetic process so far.
Yeah, but you know what I mean by war stories, not necessarily bad things, but how y'all did it and did it right. If you did it right. Things that
I
worked,
think
things
we
that
are.
didn't work. That's the big deal. Things that worked, things that didn't work.
Well, the things that didn't work is going to be a very short podcast at this point because everything has worked so far.
Well, good. Then we can talk about things that worked versus things that didn't work for me.
I can be the positive example. You can be the negative example.
It's also a positive example.
I don't know that I would say negative. We're just giving Scott Sigler shit.
I would never do something like give Scott Sigler shit. That doesn't ever happen.
If we ever have him on the show again, I'm asking when the sequel to The Rider is coming out.
Oh, God, please don't. If we have him on the show again, you are forbidden to even discuss The Rider.
Oh, you know that is not going to hold.
I know. We'll take this offline. The ass kicking will yeah. Mm-hmm. Behave yourself, you old fart. I am preparing to go to Europe.
Which part of Europe?
We are going to start in Budapest, Hungary, and then we'll feed ourselves. Then we're taking a cruise ship up the Blue Danube through Hungary, Austria, and all the way up into Germany.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we're it's kind of I don't even want to go into the specifics of how this happened because it's kind of crazy, but I'll be doing some research for Garaga stories while I'm there, checking out more of old Europe, if you will. And so we'll have a chance to see some really cool stuff. I've always wanted to go to Budapest because it's got such an interesting history. So this
the architecture is going to be amazing, I'd wager.
Oh yes, absolutely. The architecture, the old, Eastern Germany, Eastern Hungary, and Eastern Austria is going to be just a hell of a lot of fun. So I just can't wait to see it all.
I hesitate to ask this, but I'm going to ask it because I'm curious. Are you concerned with the heightened state of tensions around the world?
No.
Traveling around through there now.
No, because I look at it this way: the number of things that are happening. If you look at how many air travelers there are, how many tourists there are, there's actually very, 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 very few people affected. So it's kind of like being afraid to fly because one plane crashes every 10 years.
Or I can accept that analogy, but you're flying into turbulence when you fly into places outside the United States a little bit.
Yes and no.
A little bit more. I don't want to make it bigger than it is. A little bit more potential for turbulence, I guess, is where I would go with that.
I'm not really concerned about it because I figure, at this point, the chances of something happening over there are no worse or better than the chances of something happening over here. And something happening over here could be just as easily some nutcase decides to start shooting for no fucking reason, as opposed to having some political axe to grind. So I don't want to get caught up in all that bullshit.
And I can accept that as an answer. I was just curious what your answer would be.
But in addition to prepping all the 14 billion podcast episodes I have to do, which is 2 a week for shadowpublications.com and my Patreon, I have to get episodes for this podcast done as well. So, and video editing and everything else. So it's been taking some of my time, but I've got over 30,000 words on destruction done. And I'm hopeful that on this trip, I'll be able to get some writing done like I did in last cruise. The last cruise, I got 30,000 words done on Outbreak. So hopefully I'll be able to find the time at night when everybody turns in early to go pound some keys with a scotch between my fingers. It should be good. It should be fun.
All right. Well, I hope you have a blast, and I can't wait to see some of the pictures.
Yeah, I can't wait to see some of the pictures either. Or talk about going to visit that. I think that's one of those things we really haven't talked about is actually going to some place to do research and the kinds of things you can do. So
filming on location, so to speak.
Yeah, filming on location. So maybe I'll come back with some ideas on that. And we can talk about that as well.
We can. I've done that in Oregon on our trips up there. And so I can definitely speak about researching on location versus researching when you're not.
Yeah, but you spent all your time in the pot dispensaries, so I'm not really sure how big of a travel log this is going to be.
They didn't have pot dispensaries when I went up there. How rude.
Oh, God. I just thought that was funny. Anyway.
Actually, I'm not sure that that's true. They may have had pot dispensaries.
They did. They're just a lot bigger, and now it's recreational as well. So that's all I know about it.
Yeah, but then the feds get all annoyed when I show up at the airport with, a bag full of ganja.
Yeah, they kind of frown on that for some reason. I don't know why. They get their heads out of their asses. That's entirely different.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day I'm gonna, roll me a fatty of Jeff Sessions and smoke it right on my porch. Anyway,
is that actually a brand?
No, but I tell you what, if I were to ever grow my own weed, I would definitely call it Jeff Sessions. That would be the name of it, Jeff Sessions.
I'm not sure that you could call it a fatty if you make one of Jeff Sessions.
It would be more like a gnome, a really irate garden gnome with radar dishes for ears. God, I hate that fucker. Anyway, Jesus Christ, we're out there.
Anyway, let's drag you back on the subject here, pal.
You got me started, buddy.
How did I get you started on this?
Yeah. So it's interesting. I've been working on or thinking about what's coming after Derelict, and what we're going to talk about today really kind of helped me solidify some of my ideas. And I know on the Patreon live show that we just recorded, I got to show off some of what I've done with the tool. So I guess we should get into the introductions here and get this party started.
Ooh, let's get this party started.
Roll your shoulders and shit. Roll them shoulders. All right, let's get into it. Today we are honored to have Mr. Dave Robison, who's been on this show many times before, is also one of the co-hosts of the Roundtable podcast, involved in a number of things, number of projects. The man who never sleeps and always has not only cheerleading going on for other writers and creators, but is also very, very busy creating his own messes to clean up.
Absolutely.
And put out there. So we are very, very proud to have Dave Robison on the show once again. Howdy, Dave. How the hell are you?
I'm doing awesome, Paul. Terry, always a delight to be in the Dead Robot Society virtual studios. You guys put on a fine podcast spread, and it's always a delight to be a part of it.
Aww. We apologize for our faces that you now have to see.
Yeah, really, this is kind of new. The last time was all just kind of like audio, and we could all pretend like, we were devastatingly handsome and sounded like our voices, or looked like our voices.
Oh, for crying out loud. Nobody's believed that for a long time. Although, when I said we were probably going to start presenting these on YouTube weekly for everybody, one of the comments was that yeah, my eyes. What are you going to do about those? My response is, if you're having trouble looking at these faces, is to go ahead and just listen to the audio.
I was going to say, minimize your browser.
Minimize the browser, just listen to the audio. But, if you want to see the crazy facial expressions that go on with the crazy talk, then you're going to have to.
The suggestion is already out there. I mean, it's obvious when you look back on it ahead of time that we should obviously have green screens behind us to ease our patrons into the ability to put whatever they want behind us.
Oh, there you go. Custom backgrounds.
But Terry, we need to wear green screen masks as well.
David Wood doesn't need the green screen you, sport. He could put your head on just about anything.
Yeah, I'm not even going to discuss
and
that.
He has.
I'm not even going to discuss that latest one. Anyway, let's dispense with this useless banter. Dave, what the hell are you doing, man?
Dude.
What is your latest crazy thing that you've got going?
Hey, he's got something new every year.
I know.
He's got something going on all the time. We've only got an hour to listen to everything that he's doing. This is not enough time.
I do want to say at Balticon 51, and you'll have to forgive me because I can't remember the actual name, but you brought a board game.
Yep.
To play with the folks that showed up at Balticon 51. Whole bunch of people played the game.
Yeah, we had about a dozen play tests by the time we wrapped up Balticon.
And you were literally writing on the cards, on the board, everything else, changes that were coming out of the play testing, literally remaking the game and tweaking it while people were playing, and after they were done, before a new session started. I mean, that was just incredible to see and watch. And I'm sitting here in awe of all the crazy shit you come up with. And the game was what is the name of the game?
Yeah, it's called Manifest. And the elevator pitch is that it combines the strategic positioning and nuance of chess with the fantastical diversity of Magic the Gathering. So basically the premise is that this rift in reality has created this arena, and each player represents an entity that is coming onto the board to try and heal the rift, and in doing so, briefly being able to rewrite a piece of reality. To do that, you manifest pieces onto the board, pieces like the Mobian that can wrap the edges of the board together, or the Shadow Walker that can teleport from one side of the board to another and strike and then fade into the shadows. We've got over 50 of these vessels, they're called, that players can manifest onto the board, all with the intent of gathering up the precious essence, the very source of reality. And by shoving that into the rift, if you move enough source into the rift, then you heal the rift and you win the game. And yeah, we played easily a dozen games from 2 people to 4 people. I played in many of them, but not all of them, which was kind of cool. It was cool to be able to watch people play the game. But yeah, I had a prototype done by The Game Crafter, which is thegamecrafter.com. Dead sexy prototype that cost me maybe $50. And the whole purpose of, yeah, oh, it was. Thank you. It was, and the Game Crafter makes it so easy. And, cards, pieces, folding boards, the box, all of it. And then the whole purpose of having that prototype there is knowing that this is not the final version. And if somebody says, dude, we need more of this type of hex on here, like you say, grab the Sharpie, mark it out. That's a great idea. Yeah, let's do that and see how that works. Because that's not the final version. That's why I was at Balticon, was to get that input. And I'll tell you, everybody brought great input. The game literally is 100 times better than it was before Balticon for all that play testing.
Well, I know. I was really impressed. It just it goes to show just how insane your brain is and wonderful it is. So,
Indeed. So, just to wrap up on Manifest, the idea that we're moving forward on this is we're going to start a play testing program for Manifest, and basically we're going to acquire a bunch of prototypes and invite people. If you've got a game store near where you live, if you want to host a playtesting session for Manifest, you let me know. I'll get in touch with the game store. I'll send them promotional graphics. I'll ship you 3 of the prototypes. You run the playtest. Take photos, take videos, interviews, whatever you're comfortable doing, and then ship them back to me. And there'll be questionnaires and testimonials and stuff, so we can get good feedback from that. But I want to have like 2 or 3 of those happening every month, all over the world, between now and late spring 2018, when we launch the Kickstarter to actually fund the production of the site. And I'm already talking to game manufacturers about the pricing on that, so that we can have an actual tangible, sexy game. And then, of course, when that gets made, the people that run the play tests will get a free copy of the full game.
Oh, awesome.
So
that's pretty cool.
That's the plan. Anyway, we'll see how that falls out.
Well, I can't wait to. I know we're going to check in with you on that again and again and again. To see where that's going. So,
but that's not the biggest thing I'm doing. That's not the biggest thing I'm doing.
There's more.
Oh, there's so much more.
Don't wait. There's more.
But wait, there's more. No, Manifest. I will not varnish or obscure in any way my excitement over Manifest. It's awesome. But even as excited as I am about that, it pales in comparison to Archivos. Archivos is honestly going to change, I think, the way people engage with story. It's a story mapping, development, and presentation tool that allows storytellers to truly be architects of their story worlds. They document all of the people and the places and the events and the organizations and the races and all the things in their story world. And then they map the relationships between them. And that's the important thing in my estimation. The set pieces and story elements of your setting are cool, but they're like the stage. It's not until you link them with, I hate this guy, or I love this guy, or I will die for this thing, or whatever, that the energy and the excitement of a story setting actually happens. So you create the relationships in Archivos between these settings, and then we've got 3 display modes that will allow you to view those relationships in a visual manner. In fact, I wonder if I can actually like show you, since we're videoing. I forgot, it's videoing. If I share my screen, can I actually show you some screenshots?
I believe on the left-hand thing, there's a tool for sending a screenshot.
I see a screen share.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
There we go. Yes. Okay. Stand by. So, but yes, so that's what's happening right now. I'll get that set up, but Archivos is going to be opening for a open beta September 1st. And at that point, people will be able to buy subscriptions, create their stories, interact with them, but they won't be public. It'll only be for the storytelling community until January 1st, 2018, when everything goes public and everyone can see everything. And now it's the full fans can go to see like the Derelict Marines universe, or whatever story settings that you have, they can interact with that. And let me call up some screenshots so you guys can see what I'm talking about.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and put on my skeptical face, because I'm a pantser. I'm not sure what pantsers get out of this, and I can't wait to hear what that is.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing is, let's see, here's the first one. Let's see if I preview that. Lovely. And then I screen share that. There. Oops, you probably don't need to see that. There you go.
Wait, is that Pornhub?
That is not Pornhub. That was the Google Hangouts, you douche.
It's exactly the kind of thing I would have told him.
So here's an example of one of the 3 views of Archivos. This is the story web.
Right.
And you can see here that you got a central character. Basically, you've come into this thing wanting to view Frodo. And coming off of Frodo, orbiting him, are these primary relationships with Gandalf and Samwise and Aragorn. And then off of those secondary characters are the relationships that those characters have. By clicking on any of these characters, as you can see on the right-hand side, there's a short, brief profile of the story element that you clicked on. There's a link to a full profile, and you can get all wiki on their ass with that, as much data as you want. There's related links, so you can link people from this to related content to that story element, even sending them out to your Amazon pages or your website. That doesn't matter. That's the whole idea, is to connect all of this information. You can see across the top that you can filter the display just so you only see characters or locations or items or organizations, whatever. The types of relationships, the relationship engine is really kind of cool on this. You can have personal, political, oh, geez, it's my app. I should know all of this stuff. Personal, political, professional, and familial relationships with people. And you can say, no, I only want to see the familial relationship. So you can see the family tree or whatever, or the professional relationship. So you can see the business connections or whatever. And then in the upper right corner, you can search for somebody. If you're not seeing, where's Sauron? Sauron must be on here somewhere. You can search for him, and then bam, he becomes the focal character, and the whole screen redraws to show you that network of interaction. So, Terry, to speak to your question, and I've used words like architect and defining of things, and I know that discovery writers and pantsers don't work that way. But the fact remains that as you explore your story settings, I'm going to go ahead and, how do I stop sharing my screen?
There's a button that says stop sharing. I can see it right there.
Get it out. Really? No. Yeah. Oh, I see it. Yes. Okay, cool.
I'm not kidding. It was actually on
technology. Holy crap. I get it. As you write these stories, as you evolve, I mean, the whole purpose of discovery writing is to discover the characters and the events and the places that are going to inform your story. As you make those discoveries, as you discover, this is my protagonist. I don't know everything about him, but I know a little bit. You can go into Archivos and create that story element, and write up a quick blurb. He's a swaggering assassin of the Fifth Order. Bam, you're done. As you continue to discover and explore things, hey, he's got a girlfriend. Awesome. I should probably put her name. Her name is Judy. Okay, boom. Here's Judy. Create a personal relationship with her, and there you go. It doesn't require a complete understanding of your story ahead of time. As you discover it, you can layer in those details in Archivos, and then by the time you're done, you have something that you can share with your fans and say, hey guys, check this out. And here is the complete structure that you discovered through the course of your pantsing process to be the story you want to tell.
Yeah, Terry, I'd also say that a couple of episodes ago, you complained about the fact that you didn't have a proper database of all the characters in the Empire of Bones series.
It's totally true.
This kind of thing would help you get that going. Even if you didn't do it until after you're done with the book, if you're writing a series, putting that stuff in there is extremely helpful, because right now, for instance, if I have to search for a particular event or particular words, I have to figure out what character said them, what the situation was, and what the plot was. And I have to go back all the way to Derelict Marines, even though I'm writing 2 books ahead. I'm on the 3rd book, but there's information I need to go back and look at in the first one. So I think there's a lot of different uses for this, and I don't see why pantsing couldn't use this as well.
I agree. So. And when I said skeptical face, it wasn't because I really doubted it. I just wanted to go ahead and present the opposing view.
Right. Yeah.
It does actually bring an interesting question to mind. Do you have a feature, or could you add a feature to hide things from the public? Because you said that the public could see things. I might be writing stuff, if I'm doing this, that I need to keep notes about, but that is something I do not want to share because it's going to ruin the entire damn book.
You're actually, we have a core group of beta testers who have been kicking the tires on this thing for about 6 months now. And somebody else actually raised that point. The fact that if it is my tool as the storyteller, there's stuff going to be in there that I don't want to share with the public. One of the, from that suggestion, it's not going to be in version 1, but before we do the public release in January, we're going to set up different descriptors for public and private content. You can automatically set up any of these story elements for public or private display. Right. You also don't have to show your story setting at all. For it can all just stay private and be your tool to help you organize things. That's totally fine. If you do make it public, you're going to be able to indicate which story element the people can see and which one they can't. We're going to add to that the notion of being able to create a public summary profile and a private one so that you can have all your cool secret deep lore information stored there, but the public only sees the promotional marketing, don't give away any secrets content.
Is that sort of like saying when you see the character profile that you have up there, there's a public section in that and a private section in that same element? Because you don't want to split. If you're writing about Bob, the Emperor of the Universe, you may want to have some things you share and some things you don't.
Sure, absolutely. Let me go ahead and share my screen and show you the timeline, as long as we're talking about tracking events and so on. You can see that the Battle of Helm's Deep here has a brief description. What that would be in this proposed feature that we're looking at incorporating into Archivos, what you're seeing there would be the public display. Archivos will know if you as the storyteller are viewing this timeline or if somebody who isn't the storyteller is viewing it. And based on that, you'll probably be able to see both. Now, I see what you're saying now. And yeah, there will probably be a public and private designation so that you, as like the admin for this account, can see this is what the public sees. This is your information. We'll work out.
Maybe a better way of saying this is if I was writing a mystery and I had Bob the character on there, I wouldn't want to say, here's Bob the murderer.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. And that would be, you know, for the public profile, you would not put the fact that Bob's the murderer. Exactly. So yes, that accommodating the fact that you don't want all the information out to the public, but you still want enough information to entice them and make them want to engage with the story setting. That's very much on our minds. And we will make sure that strategy, that philosophy is represented in the Archivos feature set.
I'm gonna have to send my name in as a potential beta tester.
Well, we just opened up beta testing seats for a limited time. The deadline for submission is July 9th. But if you go to the Archivos website at archivos.digital,
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding,
ding, ding, ding, that's ARCHIVOS.digital, you can, right at the top, it says open call for beta testers. Fill out the application by July 9th, and you'll be considered to be a part of that elite cadre of beta testers who can play with all this stuff.
I may have to actually just hold off on that until it gets more public because my schedule is just so damn busy. I don't want to overbid myself. So
yeah, and we do need
to have some active people. You need active people.
Exactly. And which means half of my circle of association and community is off the table as far as that goes. Everybody is so freaking busy. Mm-hmm. But this timeline just blows my mind, man. I love the idea of being able to scroll back and forth and see in chronological order all of the events as they unfold, get the summary here, and then see the full detail thing here.
So do you have a master timeline where here you're looking at the timeline for, I guess this is the master timeline we're looking at here. Is there a way to tag characters in each event so that you could say, timeline for Bob, the murderer, and see events that only occur for Bob?
Absolutely. That's what the search timeline is for up here. When you search for a specific story element, whether it's a location or a character or an item or whatever, as long as it's a story element and it's related to an event, then when you search for it, it'll only show events that have that story element associated with it in some way.
It's pretty awesome, man.
I know, mind blown, right? Whee!
Well, it looks like it has a lot of the features of Eon Timeline, which is what I've been using for the Garaga stuff.
Right.
So
very much so. Very much so.
Is there
not
a way
all the features? Go ahead.
Is there a way to do any kind of collaboration or, add people to be curators of this alongside you? Or is it pretty much just one person controls it?
On September 1st, no. Okay. At this point, it's going to be the storyteller who creates the account. That doesn't mean you can't, give your user ID and password to somebody else. Never a great idea, but there's ways to get around it. But by January 1st, 2018, the ability to designate content managers is very much on the roadmap.
Okay.
We consider that to be a high priority feature that for people like all of us who are so darn busy, if we can hire somebody or get a fan of the works that we trust to give them a content manager account so they can go in and create this stuff and enter these values, and then we go in and review them. Fabulous.
Yeah, the idea of a curator, curation is something I think we all need. I'm very jealous of Sigler and his Siglerpedia. Because he's got 4 or 5 folks. I think Carmen Wellman actually. And I could be wrong. Sorry if I'm wrong, but I think she curates the Siglerpedia, and that was invaluable when I was working on the writer. So I
don't doubt it.
That kind of stuff is very, very important, especially if you're going to ultimately broaden out your universe and open it up to other folks.
You bet.
That as a writer, one of the things that I do, the only way that I can actually productively write is if I'm offline. Is this an only online tool, or is there ways of accessing the data when you're offline?
Unfortunately, for the first iteration, it is going to be exclusively online. There were just practicalities and realities of development where it just made more sense to make the initial iteration online. But again, on the roadmap in the future, we very much want to make this something very much, like Scrivener, where it can exist offline and then sync up with content online when you reconnect again or when you access the internet again, and then have all that information be uploaded to the web again for public consumption and promotion. So, but at this time, no, it's exclusively online. And you're not the first person, Terry, to mention that the distractions of the internet are entirely too tempting, being online as you have to be for Archivos. And at this point, I can't.
Oh, I understand. I
can't help
it's not a criticism. I just wanted to throw it out on the table.
Cool. Nope. That's very much something that we're cogent of. And while it's not as big a priority as other high ticket items, it's definitely on the roadmap. Yep. And the thing that excites me about this the most is that it's not just for writers. Certainly that was one of the initial demographics that I thought could really benefit from this, but gamers, role-playing games,
filmmakers.
Yeah.
Yes,
filmmakers.
Absolutely. But then you take it a step further and you realize, history is just a story that actually happened. So you can put the Renaissance into Archivos. You can put the Civil War into Archivos. You can put the Bauhaus art movement in here and have it be an educational tool or just a celebration of some aspect of history that you dearly love. The applications of this thing, man, we all know this. Everything's a story. My life is a story. Your life is a story. History is a story. Archivos was made for illuminating stories like that and creating them in a way that people can interact with and explore based on their own interests and without being confronted by the dreaded wall of text and the TLDR of existence.
The wall of text. No, we don't deal with walls of text, do we, Terry? We don't have like notes spread all over the place about this.
I absolutely do not have this pile of notes sitting right here. No, that's not what happens.
See, I've got one that's digital, but that syncs between all my devices, but it's growing and growing and growing and getting more and more difficult to find what I'm looking for.
I tried to do a wiki and then decided it was just too difficult to make it work. The programs just they weren't user-friendly enough and quick enough. It just took too much time. So I just started sticking everything into a Word document. Not the easiest thing to figure out.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you know what you're searching for, you can do the word find feature. But I'm with you. And that's actually the biggest concern that we have for the usability of Archivos is that overhead required to enter the data. Mm-hmm. And we're looking at exploring things like word mining algorithms, where if you upload the digital text of your book, you can, the algorithms will go through and at least identify, this appears to be a name, this appears to be a place, and at least typify the story elements for you a little bit in advance. I don't think there's ever going to be an algorithm that can actually extract a description or anything valuable from the actual content, but it should be able to identify those items that appear over and over again that deserve attention and documentation in Archivos.
Well, it's easy to tell a character that is there says, said, or, say, or whatever else, and then look before and after and see if that keeps repeating at some point, and then bang, you've got a character.
Exactly. How many times does it appear in the text? If it appears, 5,000 times, it's probably important. Just going on a limb there.
Okay, so just make sure that Jake Bible is not on there, or me for that matter, and you have it trained to ignore the F-bomb. Otherwise, the F-bomb is going to show up as a character.
In your books, the F-bomb is a character.
Yes, the F-bomb is now an important story element in the Jake Bible and Paulie Cooley universe.
Pretty much. It's one of those words that you just can't get away with when get away from when you're dealing with military and monsters and things like that. So.
The gritty, hardcore butt kickers of society.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm not writing romance. Yeah.
And if you were, yeah, really.
I love how Terry is currently doing the Bond villain thing by stroking the cat. All it needs to be
saw that. There was a very strong Blofeld vibe coming off.
Blofeld. There we go.
Why, no, Mr. Bond. I expect you to die.
So how long have you been working on Archivos?
Well, Paul, you remember back where Balticon was back in Hunt Valley, you and I sitting in the gazebo courtyard?
Balticon 48, I think.
Yeah, I think it was. It was the last, that one or before, one of the two. But I was telling you about it then. I've been working on Archivos for almost a decade now. The actual development started last August. I commissioned a development company called Gun.io. And they're an amazing group of individuals. And they have basically taken the vision of Archivos and transformed it into an actual tangible web app that's going to be ready for launch at Gen Con on August 17th. It blows my mind.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Yes. And we are going to be at Gen Con. We are going to be, even though the open beta doesn't launch until September 1st, Wonder Thing has a booth at Gen Con. It's booth number 3054. Way the hell off in the corner somewhere. But we're going to be offering subscriptions to Archivos before September 1st at Gen Con at 20% off for all Gen Con attendees. We're sponsoring the Gen Con Writers Symposium. We're one of the sponsors for the kickoff dinner and for the Saturday night hangouts at a Rock Bottom Brewery. So if you're making the Gen Con scene, you can check us out there. I'm going to be there. The product manager for Archivos with Gun.io is going to be there. He's going to be helping work in the booth. David Wendt is also going to be one of my booth monkeys, my proud booth gorilla, not a booth monkey.
You're bringing Doc Blue in, really? Are you going to make sure that he gets vaccinated first? We don't want him spreading.
No. Obviously, everyone else needs to be vaccinated, not him.
You don't want him spreading this disease all over the place. It gets sloppy.
He's just a carrier. Just a carrier.
Yeah, just a carrier.
Yeah. So nope. And there may be some other people that are coming in on the booth, but we're gonna have like laptops set up. People are gonna be able to play and kick the tires and see what it's all about. We're giving away like 50 free 1-year subscriptions coming up at the Writers Symposium. Just all kinds of stuff going on.
Let me throw out another suggestion for you to think about. Something to jot down and maybe think. The professional organizations, SIFWA, Horror Writers Association, maybe you should have like eventually a month-long trial subscription for folks that are members of professional organizations to give it a try.
An enterprise level account is definitely something that's on our radar because we'd love to get, Tor.com, love to get Ragnarok Publication, get Severed Press, Permuted Press. All of these publishers have this canon of stories that could be detailed in Archivos, and being able to embed the story web or the timeline or whatever in their publisher's site so that people can stay at Tor.com but see the story web for one of their author's story worlds. That becomes a new kind of draw, increasing traffic, increasing promotion and fan engagement. So yeah, the ability for a publisher to get a block of accounts and then offer them services like having people on staff that are willing to be, Paul, what you were describing, the content managers. For a modest fee, we will go in and put in Fran Wild's book into this thing for your Tor.com or Ace or Rock or whoever account. But yeah, very much so.
And that's good for large organizations, but I'm just talking about individuals that happen to be a member of a pro organization, a professional writer of one type or another, having a way as well, because you're talking about a con goer professional organization that has a group of people like the Horror Writers Association might be another thing to consider.
So you're suggesting that by being a member of SIFWA, working a deal with SIFWA, that as a SIFWA member, I also get an Archivos account? No,
as a member of SIFWA, you maybe get like a discount like the Gen Con goers get.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. Or, working with Viable Paradise or Clarion or any of the workshops.
Any of those places like that. That's an angle to touch base because they'll help get the word out for you.
Definitely. One of the other things, this is long down the road, is the idea of taking a story world like Star Trek or Star Wars or, the World of Warcraft world. Building that into an Archivos setting, and then allowing storytellers to purchase that story setting to put into their Archivos account so that they can tweak, nudge, and modify for fan sites and so on, for fan fiction sites. They can alter and tweak the canon based on their fan fiction, or add to the canon through their fan fiction. I know that is fraught with legal paradigms and
that would have totally helped the lady that was writing Twilight.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, wait a minute. But was that 50 Shades of Grey? I'm not sure which one came first now that
50 Shades of Grey you're thinking of.
50 Shades of Grey is what I'm thinking of. That's it.
Yeah.
Although I'm not going to make a comment, I will say, yes, you're absolutely correct.
There's a wealth of
rename character. Boom, done.
But very much, fan fiction certainly is built upon the canon of a story setting. Right. And, fan fiction is definitely a part of this. Even organizations, you look at organizations like SIFWA, if they could put their membership into Archivos and the various branches and divisions of their organization in Archivos, and then, the officers and associating them to the branches of the division, it becomes an org chart kind of thing. And people could say, well, what does SIFWA look like? Well, here's our Archivos display of our organizations, our regional memberships, and blah, blah, blah. And now it's another way to articulate the story of an organization.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll clearly I've been thinking about this way too much, but it's where I live now. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can bring out into the world with it.
Wow, this is just nuts. So how many collaborators do you have on the ideas for this monster?
Well, formally, we got the dev team with gun.io, but really, Paul, you were a collaborator on it because we talked about it over beers on the countertop. Everybody I've worked with, when I was working in corporate, software development, everybody I worked with was a collaborator because we could not go on to lunch break without me rambling on about Archivos. I have collaborated with the world on this, but in terms of who's a part of the team, it's kind of me, actually, which I'm actually kind of embarrassed to say, but that's going to change very soon as the beta testers come on board and they start engaging actively with Archivos as it exists now. As we move forward into the open beta on September 1st, I really consider, one of the things that excites me the most is, as much as I've thought about this, what excites me more is the stuff I haven't even considered. But the users saying, holy crap, I can do this. And I'm going, I had no idea we could do that. But you're right. It works. That's awesome. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
Just wait till you get the guy that's going to be writing the next time travel thing. He says, but my timeline, it's incredible. I need to go back and I need to go forward. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and there's unique problems that have evolved even with a linear timeline. People were talking about how, for example, Aragorn would be listed in Archivos as the owner of Narsil. Narsil's an item. Aragorn owns Narsil, but he didn't until the last book in the trilogy. So how do we represent a character through the flow of time with the relationships and the connections they have across a continuum of multiple stories?
Oh, I know how that works.
Oh, yeah?
You've got Gandalf the Grey and then Gandalf the White. Same individual, yet they have a sub-designation that differentiates the different periods of their life.
Dude, we need to get you into the beta testing program. That's inspired. Yes, absolutely. You can have Aragorn Strider and Aragorn King of Gondor.
It's like a little subheading you can say, I only want to see the information on Aragorn in the Strider years. Boop,
sure.
There it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And that Archivos can do right now. So, See, and thank you, Terry. I'm going to be jotting that down.
Thank you, and I hate you.
I love brainstorming. It doesn't matter that it's not about a book. I love this stuff.
Yeah, I do too. And that's been one of the many delights of this thing is as we've gone forward with the development, seeing the pages go up, seeing the features and the functions go up, talking about the best way to achieve X, Y, and Z. Those have been great conversations. And like I said, that's been my life for the past year, is developing and evolving and making those decisions, collaborating with the team, and coming to decisions as far as this is how it's going to be on version 1. And that was the hardest thing for me to embrace. The notion of MVP, minimum viable product.
Yep.
Oh God, that's
world. Do you fit this among all
Cadillac,
the rest
Ferrari
of the
driving
things
out the garage?
You're just such a busy guy. You've got so many other irons in the fire. How do you find the time to focus on this among all the other things you're doing?
Other things suffer. I'll be honest with you. I just now finished the audio for Scott Roche's Esho St. Clair case files that'll be coming out on audiobook. I've been under contract to do that for over a year.
Don't. Well, it's only
I know, right?
That guy.
No, don't screw that guy. What are you talking? Yeah.
Terry's a bad man. Terry's a very bad man.
And he's not the only one. There are other people that I have agreed to do things for, and they've been waiting. I would love to get the manifest. Balticon was Memorial Day, for crying out loud. It's July. I should have the manifest playtest system in play, operating now. But I don't have time. Now, I will say that there is an organization called, I was just on the phone with them. Holy crap. Worldwide 101 is the name of the organization, and they're virtual assistants. The developing company, the developing studio that I'm building Archivos with, uses them and recommended them. I just got off the phone with one of their representatives, and it looks like when I have a virtual assistant that will come on and help with some of the social media, some of the administrative tasks that everybody has to do, but that are a time suck. And they're very reasonably rated and highly professional, very qualified. So I've never had the opportunity to actually delegate like this. And I'm really looking forward to the experience of saying, please take care of this, and knowing that it's going to get done. So that's how I do it, Terry.
I'm personally cultivating, a huge following of minions. They just don't know it yet.
You know where your problem with that is? You keep killing them off. You kill every single last one of them.
You say this, but people pay me to kill them off. That's the scary part. It's like donate to Paul and I get killed in a book. How much money does it take for me to get killed in a book?
If it's paying the bills, man.
I'm not going to question the sanity. I'm just going to do it. It helps pay the bills, man. It keeps the dog in kibble. What do you want?
Who knew that murder could be so profitable?
Yes. The greatest thing about being a virtual hitman is you can't go to prison for it.
That's right. That's
virtual prison.
Virtual prison. You may be the victim of a flame war or two, but no, you won't have to go up the river, as it were.
Well, let's cut to some of the other aspects of this, and what kind of price range can potential subscribers be looking towards? I understand it's way early in that process, but are we talking tens of dollars? Are we talking hundreds of dollars? What are we looking at here?
No, what we're looking at ultimately when it comes out even on September 1st, we're looking at $4.99 a month for a storyteller account. So that's about $60 a year. And that's for unlimited story settings. So if you've got 20 stories, that's fine. You can set up 20 story settings and detail and map them out in there. If we find out that's too much, we'll work with it. If it's too little, we'll work with it. We're going to continue to be adding features and cool things moving forward. And it's a new enterprise. I don't want to price it out of the market.
We're not holding you to anything here. I was just trying to get a ballpark here.
Yeah. $4.99 a month.
Something like Eon Timeline costs you, $30, $40. Having a hosted wiki up there that is private that you can mess with and then open, that's going to cost you money per month. If you start looking at everything that's going on with this and some of the other services, $4.99 sounds like a pretty damn good deal for me. That's something I can afford.
And that's what I want to go for right now. What's more important to me than, obviously it would be lovely to be able to take the revenue coming in from Archivos to pay for future development of all the cool, badass stuff we want to put out there. But even more important than that is going to be getting people using it and exploring it and finding all of the cool things about it, and then using it to advance their own careers or the enjoyment and excitement with their role-playing games, or helping their students learn about the Revolutionary War. However Archivos is used, it has to be used in order for all of that goodness to come out there. So I'm glad to hear that it sounds affordable. And you're right, I hadn't really considered the fact that there is kind of you would pay for a hosted solution of some kind. So having that hosting up there, as well as the feature set that helps support your artwork or your storytelling creations, that's a darn good price.
Well, the other thing is you're dealing with hosted data. So you don't have to worry about losing it if your machine gets fried or something along those lines.
Right.
You've basically offsite storage, if you will. And
that's right. That's a place to park your novel in case things go bad.
Well, that's a completely different issue. But, is this going to have export capabilities?
That's another high priority feature that's on the list. Probably not on September 1st, just looking at the things that must be done by then. But definitely, well, my product manager is going, don't promise anything, Robison.
Promise nothing.
Almost certainly by January 1st or close thereafter. But yeah, both exporting and importing, the ability to, hand a spreadsheet to somebody, a minion or a fiendling or whatever, and say, fill out this spreadsheet with all the story character elements of all the things, and then you being able to just upload that to your Archivos setting. That's huge. The exporting in order for backups and archives and saving the data, and also being able to use it in other frameworks. We don't want to hold that stuff hostage. You're entitled to that stuff. So yeah, importing and exporting is very high on the priority list.
Here's another suggestion that you've probably already heard that occurred to me while we were doing the talking. Even though you may not want to have someone else updating your stuff, if your fans are looking at it, there should be a suggestion button saying, did you forget that Bob had the murder weapon tucked in his back pocket? Oh, maybe I should add that.
There will be commenting options that will be added, certainly, but phase 3.
Yeah, I'm just throwing out things here, man. I'm brainstorming.
No. What I'm saying is, one of the visions that I had for this is the ability for Archivos to actually allow a storyteller to throw a switch in the configuration for the setting and allow user-generated content. So on that story web where you saw all of those circles with the characters, there's a little gray one that says, add your character. And now you can add the bartender at the Prancing Pony. If you've got a whole character profile on that guy, add him. And then if you have a short story that involves him and Aragorn, you can upload that to Archivos too, and then those will be linked to the story elements that are featured in there. So when you call up the Prancing Pony, you'll see, oh, look, here's some fiction related to the Prancing Pony. Let me read that. Binga, binga, binga. And now we have a true collaborative shared world environment, and you can have peer review with upvotes and patronage and the whole thing. That is phase 3. That's like 2020. All right.
Yeah, that would definitely be access to something like this would be something that would work well with something like patrons on Patreon, giving them enhanced access to something like that.
Oh yeah, with like special codes. When you enter this in, you have special user privileges with this setting. Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that.
It seems to me like this would also help if you're trying to co-write with somebody, as far as keeping things in sync. So when, any things like the anthologies, somebody could put the story Bible in, and
no antimatter.
Yeah, or no antimatter, or authors can collaborate together by adding those things as they're going through working on the same story. I think that's another piece that's very invaluable to this idea. So I'm on board with the idea. I've already touched Archivos a little bit since I was one of the alpha testers. Huh?
You pervert.
I touched its naughty bits. And we was still under development. So basically kicking the tires and that kind of thing. So I'm pretty well excited by this because there's really no other solution out there. I've been looking, and since actually a couple of my readers have not complained, so to speak, but have wondered if maybe I could put out a wiki of some sort with all the characters from Derelict, because they forget who is who between books. Yep. Terry's got the same problem with Empire Bones, although he's putting the books out fast enough that's kind of difficult to forget everybody. But
that is totally not true, because Veronica just yesterday, Veronica said, "What about this character voice?" And I'm like, "Who is that? I don't even remember this character."
My story, I don't remember what character you're talking about. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to get lost because, like I said, I have to go back to looking at Marines, and I'm working on Destruction. Well, Marines was 2 books ago, and I'm still dealing with almost all the same characters. Nothing new has entered in there, but I still find myself going back and looking for certain events or certain keywords or certain details that I then have to somehow address in this next book. And that's going to keep happening with any series. I mean, for crying out loud, the Black has got, oh wow, I think we're up to 40 characters that the
Cast
ones
of thousands.
That's not even, well, that's including the ones that were killed, but the survivors and whatnot from the 3 books. It's going to get kind of hard to keep track of who's who. So when I'm writing the 4th and 5th book, I have to address those kinds of things, and it's going to be hell keeping track of everything. So
that's kind of one of the strengths of Archivos, is that it affirms that continuity, both chronology. Here's one thing I haven't showed you yet. Let me show you one more thing. But chronologically, certainly, that's vitally important. Let me share one last thing with you guys. This is the 3rd final view for Archivos. This is the living map. So continuity of time, continuity of place, because basically you can upload a map and then anchor locations and regions and events to that map, and allow people to zoom in or zoom out. And then, of course, the continuity of character and relationship that the story web gives you. I absolutely agree, Paul, that the deeper you get into a story setting, the more it's not complex, but rich and big and dense as all the story threads start evolving and expanding. Having a tool like Archivos to preserve that continuity and then be able to share it with a limited group to foster that kind of collaboration that you're talking about, or Terry, that kind of exclusivity that you were kind of implying with the membership thing. That's valuable. That has relevance in the context of us as storytellers and as members of a storytelling community.
Things like your beta reading community, if you've got a group of trusted individuals that need to see what's going on, whereas the general public might not need to see what's going on.
Yeah, that's huge.
A thing that popped up in my brain here is when we're talking, Paul was talking about the characters spanning multiple books. You might want to think about adding something to your timeline so you could put a delineator saying book 1 ends here. This is book 2 going forward.
Very much so. Very much. Was that cat butt? Were we treated to cat butt there?
That was cat butt.
That was cat butt.
There's always a cat on this show. Terry's just...
This is Minnie. She's the office cat. So
yes, the office cat or one of the other cats shows up. You probably haven't been in attendance when he's got the spray bottle out. Nuking
no, I missed that. That.
So we're having a good day. We've only got cat butt once. He's so unprofessional.
Oh, but so
are you
adorable at the same time.
Some of the patrons are there simply because they love my cat.
That's right.
Lies and slander. They're here for my pretty face. They're here for my pretty face. That's what they're here for.
Absolutely. In my buttery man voice. Absolutely.
Yes, your buttery man voice.
Dude, it sounds awesome. I'm
man.
ready to already sign up.
I agree. His buttery man voice sounds awesome. I don't know how you sign up for that, but it does sound awesome.
Apparently Scott Roach knows how to sign up.
You in the morning and just whisper in your ear, "Time to get up, Paul. Paul, time to get up."
Oh, that would just be too creepy.
I'm pretty sure that he should, go ahead and have a service where he could record your phone mail greeting. Hi, you've reached Paul.
You've reached Paul Cooley. Leave a message or die. Yes.
I need to do that with one of my voice modulators. Have the Fee Master come on there. That'd be great.
There you go. Get the pitch down.
I think that the ideas that we talked about at several different Balticons, all the panels I've been on over the time talking with writers, the listeners of this show, and listeners of other shows too, and even the communities on SIFWA, HWA. I was just reading an article on SIFWA or HWA about putting together wikis for authors and how they can go about doing this and managing everything. Sure. And there were some good suggestions, but nothing does what you're doing as far as the complete package. So I think that you've got a hell of a good idea here, and I'm interested to see how it pans out.
I've got another idea for you.
Okay.
Another one.
Just him talking about this reminded me that this tool could have some uses for things like the Dead Robot Society podcast, because we could have the people we have as guests as entries. We could have a timeline of shows. People could suggest possible shows, suggest people to link in, say, maybe you should contact the show. There's all types of things that it could be done for a podcast on this as well.
Sure. And as your guests are racked up, you add them. You can also add where
links
they're
to
from.
their work.
So you can
links to their books and things like that. You could do all kinds of things along those lines as well.
Everything's a story, man. Everything's a story. Guys, I appreciate that. And that actually raises a good point. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback and very affirming comments from everyone. I'm deeply grateful. One of the things that's going to make Archivos rock out loud is the old adage that sharing is caring. So as posts go up on Facebook, as tweets go out on Twitter, by the way, on Facebook and Twitter both, it's Archivos Stories is the account. So on Twitter, it's at Archivos Stories, and on Facebook, facebook.com/Archivos Stories, ARCHIVOS Stories, all one word.
You look for a second there like you weren't going to be able to spell it. That would have been awkward.
I know, right? Spelling the thing with my pronouns.
Is there a special character in the middle? Is there a space?
Is it VI or IV? How do you pronounce it? Crap. Yeah, that would have been embarrassing. But sharing is caring. So spreading the word, letting people know about what's coming, what's coming out, that is always deeply appreciated. And a lot of people have really kind of taken up that cause. And to them, I say,
well, I know for sure that I'll be using this as much as I can once I get back to writing the Black and once Derelict ends, because I am going to have a humongous cast of characters and stories for the Soul and Beyond universe. So I'm going to need something like this so I can keep all this crap straight in my head, because right now that's not working so well.
I'm already 7 books. It's too late for me.
Well, see, that's why you need a minion, man. You could get Donna to put this stuff in. I'm sure she's not doing anything important.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
You've got a cadre of devoted fans. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to go ahead and do that kind of stuff for you.
Absolutely.
So would you trust your fans to just, willy-nilly add stuff there? There would be things like Paul's butt would be entered as a character.
Yes,
guaranteed.
My fan base is very different from your fan base. Your fan base seems a little more mature. My fan base is full of a wide spectrum of crazy people. So and wonderful crazy people.
A diverse community.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have I mean, all you got to do is go look at the graveyard, and that should tell you everything you need to know about my fan base. And
Paul's gonna need a volunteer to die button. Please kill me next, please.
Bid. It's a bidding thing.
Oh,
that's it. I'm killing somebody off. Put a bid. The auction is open for 2 weeks. Who will die?
No. I need to have a live stream where you can basically put in the comments all the reasons why I should pick you to croak.
That's right.
Do a live stream on that. Read the stuff aloud. Write down the stuff on a whiteboard or something, and then have people vote on it after the stream.
And there's you got multi-purpose content now because you can bundle those up and publish those as a valuable piece of content off on your blog. Absolutely.
Oh man, this is just getting out of control in a hurry.
As it always does with us.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I'm really, really excited to see this. We'll make sure to put all the links in here. I might even do video editing to put them on the screen and make them clickable. Ooh.
Dude, if I can send you like logos and images, let me know. I'll pop them off.
That's Paul at well, no, show it at DRS. Show
Come
it.
on now, damn it.
I can't even remember our email address. Show it. DeadRobotSociety.com. Terry, shut up. And Dead Book listeners a face. And throw society in there somewhere.
Right. It'll get to you eventually.
Society of Dead Listeners on Face?
Yeah, Dead Listeners on Face. Society
thing.
Well, that time we forgot robots. So, yeah.
That's okay. Your voice cut out, so you were roboting. Does that count?
Oh, yeah, that definitely counts. Am I still roboting?
No, you weren't roboting at all. I lied.
Oh. This is what I've come to expect from Terry. You know, the lies, the non sequiturs, the cat butts. It's all part of the show.
Keep things fresh.
Oh, is that what we're calling it? Fresh like kitty litter? Yeah, let's go with that. Fresh like kitty litter. Well, Dave, thank you very much for coming on and telling us about this. I know you're excited as hell. I can't wait to. I really can't wait to see how this comes along. I'm hopeful I can get in here and do some kicking, some more kicking of the tires and some more braking.
You'd be most welcome to do both, my friend. Absolutely. And thank you both guys for making room in the virtual feed for me. It's always a delight to hang out. You guys are my podcast parents. So I kind of need to, it's like coming back home to the native. And I'm always deeply grateful when I can.
Always welcome.
I got news for you. The guest bedroom's already full of cats. You're just, I'm sorry. You can't put you up for the night.
I'm not allergic. I'm good.
Perfect. Well, what's
perfect?
Dave, where can we find you?
Wow. That list is getting longer and longer.
Change that question. Where can't we find you?
It's a shorter list. It's a shorter damn list, I can tell you. All right. Well, let's start off with the website for Archivos is archivos.digital, archivos.digital, not .com, .digital. Archivos stories on Twitter and Facebook. All of this falls under the aegis of Wonder Thing Studios, which you can find at www.wonderthingstudios.com. The Roundtable podcast will be rebranded as the Archivos Brainstorm podcast, but it will always be at roundtablepodcast.com. That will not change. Anybody that's subscribed through iTunes, that will not change. Just the picture and maybe the name, but the connections, the links, and all the awesomeness, that's staying in there as well. Those are and also Roundtable Podcast on Facebook for that. Manifest has a Facebook page, Manifest Game. The process of building the website, as we observed, Dave can't do all the things. So that's been kind of backburnered until Archivos comes out. But that'll come out as well, and we'll shout and tweet and all of that stuff when that happens.
You need to set up an Archivos page so that you can have your own timeline of what you're doing.
Dude, yes.
Is that a little meta?
That is very meta and exactly what Archivos is all about.
Dave, just
rock it.
In a Kanban board and be done with it. Just
not Kanban. No. We are totally agile. here at Archivos Development. Totally.
Kanban is also agile.
It is, but it's harsh.
Does it
All right, I'm not going to get into this conversation with you.
Is that how that works?
This is for nerding offline.
Yes, deep nerding. Deep nerding. So.
Deep nerding. Is that some kind of disease or a sexual act? I don't know which.
There are pills.
Just put it in next to quarter throat and be done.
Whoa, hey, time out.
Penalty. Wow. Penalty.
Thanks for that. And on that note, if you have a question or a comment about this episode, you can contact us. You can email us at show@deadrobotsociety.com. You can tweet us at Paul_E_Cooley because Terry is a Luddite.
Get off my lawn!
Or you can join us at the Listeners of the Dead Robot Society Facebook group, where all sorts of crazy things happen. Lots of questions, lots of answers, lots of different posts. People put up occasionally samples of their writing or look for beta readers. We really enjoy our community. We've been working hard on building it, and it's kind of going gangbusters. So feel free to join us there.
Society on Facebook.
Yeah. And then what else do? We have to thank our wonderful host, Pod Hoster, for making all 400 billion episodes of the Dead Robot Society podcast available for your ear holes. And of course, we're obviously on YouTube as well. So go check out our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/DRS podcast, which is not real difficult to remember. And now Paul has to go hunt because he didn't have the page open. Terry, shut up.
Nope.
Know what Terry's going to say.
Is this my talking bad face?
That is your talking bad face. You are going to give me shit because that's what you do.
This is where the clicky click happens?
This is where the clicky click happens. And my bandwidth is like trashed right now because I'm live streaming.
Wow. Go for it.
Which always helps. So we also have to thank our wonderful $10 reward level.
I can't wait to see what name he's got this time.
Patron level. He put it back. He changed it back. Our $10 level patrons. Oh yeah, you can come if you want to keep the show free. Make sure we have money to pay the hosting costs, everything else that we do, as well as production time and video editing, etc. Feel free to support us at patreon.com/DRS podcast, where you can earn exclusive You get access to exclusive shows, live events where you can basically join us on Google Hangouts. We'll ask or answer questions live for you there. And you'll also get access to raw, unedited shows, which may or may not be a good thing.
It's a good thing.
And our $10 level patrons, we have to thank John Kilgallen. Oh my God, why? Chris Winder, like winding a clock, not blowing in the wind. Isabel Cushy. Andre Conde Moraes, again, I need help with the pronunciation, please. Robert Slade, DJ Chamberlain, Jonathan Zarusin, J.R. Hanley, Caleb James, who did not jack his name up this week. And
he didn't know we were coming back this quick.
Yeah, this is true. So thank you very much, patrons. Yes, absolutely. We appreciate all the support you give us, and it's a wonderful thing. And thank you so much. Well, Dave, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Paul. Thanks, Terry. This has been a blast, as always.
You're welcome. We'll have you on just about any time.
It's always fun to have you home, son.
Thanks, Dad.
I'm scared now.
Oh, I need a shower.
Yeah, you need more than a shower. They make antibiotics.
He shows up with his bag of laundry headed right for the laundry room every time.
And then the fridge. Right to the fridge.
Right to the fridge.
To the fridge. Oh my God. On that note, we're going to end this here. Thank you. See you next week, folks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.